Now in Chapter 4, what we're going to do is we're going to be focusing on the percent equation this time. So the part equals the percent times the whole. This is our equation. So looking at part equals percent times the whole, notice we're going to be looking more at decimals this time around instead of the fractions that we did last time about percent proportion. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by writing down our percent as a decimal. So it's going to be 0.12. And I know it's 0.12 because I moved my decimal over twice. It was at the back, 1, 2, because I divided it by 100, times 150. So I'll work this problem out, and I'll come up with, well, let's go ahead and look at it. So 0, 0, carry my 1, makes that 3. Placeholder 0, 0, 1, 5. So when I work it out, I come up with 0, 0, 8, 1. And I look at that number and I say, does that make sense? And it doesn't. So what I need to do is I need to check and see what I didn't finish. And if you'll notice, I've got a decimal here, but I haven't incorporated a decimal in my answer. So what I need to do is with my pen, I need to move my decimal back 1, 2 places. And the reason it's 2 is because the top number, 1, 2, my percent moved over twice. The top number didn't have to move at all. So my answer, the value is 18. So 18 is my answer for A. Now what I'd like you to do is go ahead and try, or that was number 1. I'd like you to go ahead and try A. What is 6% of 200? Now remember, for this part, we're going to be using the percent equation. So my first step is going to be convert into a decimal, then multiply, and then we'll see if we can find the value of the part. Alright, let's see how you did. You should have taken 200 times, move my decimal over twice, 1, 2, so that's 0.06. 0, 0, 12. Now notice I really don't have to do this right here because anything times 0 is going to give me 0, but I do need to make sure I move my decimal over 1, 2, 1, 2. So my answer will just simply be 12. An easy way for me to think of that one also is to say, okay, well 6%, that's not going to change, but 200 I can compare to 100. What is 6% of 100? Well, it would simply be 6. So I would know that if I have 200, I've got twice as much. So twice as much as 6 is 12. Alright, let's see if you can do B. See if you can find 72% of 50. Alright, let's see how you did. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my percent and turn it to a decimal. 1, 2. So it's going to be 0.72 times 50. Alright, now I will do my multiplication. So that gives me 0, 10, 0 for my placeholder, 0, and 35. Oh, I didn't leave myself enough room there. So what I've got is I've got 100, 35, 0, 0. So I came up with 36, move my decimal over 1, 2, 1, 2. So I've got simply an answer of 36. A quick check of that is I say, okay, 72% is bigger than 50%. 50% of 50 would be half of it, which is 25. And 36 is more than 25. So I think that I'm at least on the right track, if not have the right answer. Alright, let's look at C. What is 14% of 150? Go ahead and give it a shot. Alright, so let's use my percent equation. So my first step is to change 14 into 0.14. And we're going to take it times 150. So I go 0, 0, carry my 2, 0. Oh, that needs to be like that. Forgot my placeholder. 0, 0, So I have 2100. Move my decimal over 1, 2. Move my decimal over 1, 2. So I came up with an answer of 21. 21. All right, the last one. See if you can find 50% of 70. See if you can find 50% of 70. Let's check. So what I've got is I'm going to move my decimal over twice. Only this time I'm going to write 0.5. And the reason being is that I know that the 0 on the end is not going to make any difference. So I'm going to take 0.5 times 70. So that gives me 0, 35. Move my decimal over one time. Move my decimal over one time. So my answer will be 35. So I say, what is half of 70? Well, it is 35. Now, if I notice on these equations, what I'm going to be doing is I read 21 is what percent of 40? Well, now I've got a part and I've got a whole, but I don't have a percent. So I need to work backwards. So I need to change my equation up top. I need to say, okay, I need to get the percent by itself. So instead of multiplying, I'm going to divide by the whole. When I do that, that'll cross off over here. Now I need to divide by the whole over here. So my new equation that I'm going to be using for this is the part divided by the whole equals my percent. Now this is actually the same thing we do every time we find a score on our grade. We take the part, your score, which is the top number, divided by the total, or the whole, and that gives us what our percent is, after we moved our decimal over twice, because we have to times it by 100. So what we'll do here is we'll take 21 divided by 40. So 21 divided by 40 equals, it equals 52.5. Well, it equals 0.525. And then what I did is I moved my decimal over 2 times to the right because I was timesing it by 100. So I come up with 52.5. Now my quick check for that is I say, okay, well 52 is close to 50%. So that means that it's a little bit bigger, right? So 40, 50% of that would be 20 because it'd be half, and 21 is a little bit bigger than that. So yeah, that's a good check. Your turn. See if you can do letter E. All right, let's see how you did. First thing I should do is take my is, which is my part. So I have 9 over my of number, which is 40. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 9 divided by 40. I came up with 22.5 after I moved my decimal over twice. All right, try one more. 27 is what percent of 150? Let's see how you did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my is number of 27, put that on top, my of number of 150. So in this case, I would think of, I scored 27 correct out of 150. So I know my percentage, if I think about it like a grade, is going to be low. So what I need to do is I will take 27 divided by 150. And I came up with the answer of 0.18, move my decimal over twice, so that gives me 18%. And 18% does sound like a low number because I know that they would not do well if it were a test. Notice that we're changing it up one more time. Now, if I look through my question, 13 is 26% of what number? I'm trying to find the of, or the whole number part, which is over here. So I need to get that by itself. So I need to get the percent away from it. So what I'm going to do is I was multiplying by a percent, so I'm going to divide by a percent. So that'll cross off. Now I'm going to divide this by a percent. So now I've got the part divided by percent equals my whole number, or my total amount. So let's see what that looks like on number 3. So I'm going to take 13 divided by 26%. 13 divided by 26%. Now, when I divide, I can't divide by a percent. So what I need to do is I need to turn this into a decimal by moving it over 1, 2. What I came up with is 48.14. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to round to the nearest tenth. So I look at that and the 4 will just truncate off. Or actually, if I round to the nearest percent, the 1 will just truncate off. And so I'll just end up with 48. So 48 is my total. So what is my total? Total's 48. So now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to try the same thing on G. 39 is 84% of what number? So remember, we're going to be using this equation right over here. We're going to find the part divided by the percent as a decimal equals a total. Let's see how you do. Okay, let's check. So what I've got is I've got my my part, 39, divided by, move my decimal over 1, 2, so 0.84 equals my total number. What I got was 46.4, which rounds down, so my answer would be simply 46. Alright, let's look at the last one. See if you can find what is 26% of what number is 45. 26% of what number is 45. So go ahead, remember you're using this equation over here. The part divided by the percent equals the whole. Let's see how you did. So 45 is the part. I know that because that's my is number. Divided by, decimal over twice, 1, 2, 0.26. So 45 divided by 0.26 equals 107 equals 173.07, which I will simply just round to 173. Now in our last one, what we're going to do is we're going to use our percent equation one last time. The part equals the percent times the whole, or we just actually saw two variations of that. Whereas if we're trying to find the whole number, we'll take the part divided by the percent. If we're trying to find the percent, we'll take the part divided by the whole. So there are actually 3 equations that can be derived from this single equation, just depending on what you're trying to find. So let's look at number 4. It says a survey found that 25% of the people aged 18 to 24 gave up their home phone and only used cell phone. If 3,264 people only use their cell phone, about how many people were surveyed? Okay, so let's try to figure out what I've got. Well, I know I've got a percent, and I know that I have this right here. Now, they only use their cell phone. Well, some people use their home phone, so that means that this is not the whole. So I am trying to find this right here. So what I want to do is in my equation, I want to find that, so I need to move my percent away. So I'm going to divide by my percent and divide by my percent, which means right here will be my equation. So if my part was 3,264 people over my percent, which was 25, move my decimal over twice, 1, 2, because I don't want it to be a percent anymore, that'll give me the total number of people surveyed. I came up with the answer of 13,056 people were surveyed. Okay, and one way that I can quick check that is I know that 25% is about a quarter. So that's only a fourth of the number of people. So really, I can take this number right here, my people, 3,264, and take it times 4, and I will get the total number of people that were surveyed.